Hello there. My name is Wayne Edwards. I'm the principal at UTC Heathrow, and welcome to our open event tonight. First things first, I'm just going to go through a little bit of housekeeping initially, and then we'll have some presentations from myself, from the senior leadership team, from a parent, a governor, and an employer to show what we do here at UTC Heathrow.
So firstly, thank you for being here. I'm one of the assistant principals. My name is Aaron Sohi. I have responsibility and oversight for Key Stage Pastoral, as well as the SEND department, English and PPD and curriculum. Wayne has just started running briefly through some of the housekeeping, but if you've got any questions, please do save them till the end. We will hope to get through all of those promptly, so please just kind of jot down your questions if you could, and we will come through to them at the end. So thank you very much for that. So we're just going to show you a quick video of what you can expect from a UTC. Barring technical difficulties, this will work perfectly, so please enjoy. Thank you. That has given you some kind of brief run through, obviously visual, of the incredible resources and the engineering focus of the Heathrow of UTC Heathrow. We have an incredible array of opportunities for students who have a particular interest in engineering and science, and that's what makes us unique. We specialise in technical studies, and it's for students between the ages of 14 and 18. As you saw from the video, or got a brief idea of, this is not just about academic courses, this is also technical skills, and that is where we have a heavy focus in terms of the work that we do. Part of that, and part of that technical focus, is about being able to work very, very closely with our employer partners. Some of the largest companies in the UK, Morgan Sindall, we work very closely with the forces as well, and a variety of other employers. And working with those employers helps us to shape our curriculum. That ensures that students who leave the UTC are prepared for working life. They're prepared to join these employers because they've already had exposure to what these employers do through our curriculum. What this also does is this offers a very, very clear route to high-level apprenticeships and university degrees.
So why here? So we are part of Activate Learning Education Trust, and I've been with the Trust since 2013. And I originally started my journey as a Trust at UTC Reading, where I set up the school with our CEO, Joanne Harper, and she was the principal at the time. I was the deputy. We took that school forward as a UTC to the first outstanding school in the country for a UTC on their first inspection. As part of the Trust, as we've grown, we've then taken over 3 others, and Heathrow on top of that makes 4 UTCs. And within that, we have a blend of secondary schools in the Business School and Theo Green School, and we have a studio school as well, which is in Bicester. Our main aim here and across the Trust is about how do we transform lives through learning, and that is our key vision. And that's important to me, and it's close to my heart. And what we do with that, we allow students to be empowered in their learning, and that's one of our values of empowerment. We like them to be entrepreneurial and develop those skills as well. And connectedness, and one of our values about connectedness is about it's connecting industry, skills, and education together. And what we do with that is we transform the person as a whole as they grow through the school. So to help support that, across the Trust, we have our learning philosophy, and our learning philosophy is really important. And when you come to visit the school, today is all about us doing it virtually in the current climate, but we are hoping to do some tours on our next open event, which is a Saturday, and it will be tours only. You'll see around the building that we have lots of things about our learning philosophy. And the one thing we talk about is the brain, our emotions, and our motivation. And that's important for all of us. And one of the things that we do with this is that we encourage the students, because our brain is where our learning takes place. The thing is, our emotions are a barrier to our learning, and we don't know what our emotions are going to be like from day to day as with students coming through the door, the current environment that we're currently in, and how motivated we are to succeed. And what we do is we link all that together as part of our learning philosophy and with our vision and values. And what we do then is develop a learner who's actually able to self-regulate themselves, able to be independent, be able to work as a team, and also within that be able to be motivated to succeed. So, as I said, why here? We are a UTC. There's about 52 UTCs in the country in total, and they go across the whole of England itself, from the north to the south. Within the London area, there are 4 UTCs within the London area, including ourselves. We are linked with industry, and as Aaron quite rightly said, you know, we link with Morgan Sindall, we link with Heathrow Airport, we link with Stantec, Fujitsu, and many others, and Cisco, and many other major companies. And what we do is we allow the opportunity to students to develop their skills as an education provider and make sure that they get what's called the suite of qualifications. And as part of that, then we develop their softer skills. And throughout their time here, they'll get to work with different employers, whether that is the current climate virtually or on a face-to-face. And they get lots of work experience with these employers. And what that does do is to allow us to move forward so the students have a better understanding how to go into an apprenticeship or go into university, or actually to go into a job itself. So I'm going to pass you over to Aaron, and Aaron's going to talk about the dress code and what it's like as a pastoral leader and the ways of communication.
Thank you, Wayne. So as you can see, we operate in a professional environment, and we expect students to adhere to that. Like they would in a workplace. It's basically preparation for the workplace. So the dress code is certainly business dress. That could be a dark suit, shirt, and tie. For ladies, the tie is optional, but certainly dark shoes are an expectation. Students can also do work in what we call personal protective equipment. So that's when they're working in the engineering suite. They have their own personalised protection equipment. In terms of the school day, it starts at 8:30. They have a 10-minute tutor base, which is their opportunity to touch base with tutors, go through any important notifications, get themselves in the right mind frame to focus on transforming their life through their learning throughout the course of that day. That runs for 10 minutes until 8:40. From 8:40, they have 2 one-hour lessons. They have a 20-minute break, and then they go on to 2 more one-hour lessons. At 1 o'clock, they have a half-an-hour lunch, and then they have 2-hour-long lessons. So again, we've tried to kind of, make sure that there is plenty of time for learning, and that we're replicating, kind of the length of a business day in some ways for the students. After lessons, there will be, or there can be, intervention for specific focuses. So whether a student needs intervention for English or maths or science, or whatever the case may be. In terms of the pastoral system, so all students are part of a dedicated tutor group, and they will see that tutor every morning. That's an important relationship, having that kind of regularity, having that regular time to touch base, to get notifications. Those are very important, useful relationships. Beyond that, and within those tutor groups, they will have a 1-hour, what we call PPD, or otherwise personal professional development lesson, on a weekly basis. Those will run right from year 10 right all the way through to the end of year 13, and encompasses our statutory obligations to religious education, to personal, social health, mental well-being. Those PPD sessions are about creating the rounded student. We don't want students just to learn with a fantastic academic caliber and technical caliber. We want to create well-rounded students who are capable of transforming their life through their learning, and that learning is also about British values and society at large, and that's how we use those PPD sessions, of which there are 1 hour a week. In terms of the pastoral system beyond that, so the student's first point of contact for any issues will always be the tutor. After that, we have a pastoral support manager whose job it is to provide those day-to-day nudges that sometimes students occasionally need. The pastoral support manager is about finding ways to motivate students, to reward students, as well as deal with any behaviour issues as and when they arise. Working with that pastoral manager quite closely as myself, and I'm the assistant principal in charge of pastoral. So issues can come through to me. Students will see me. I will be charged with making sure that they are emotionally, mentally regulated and prepared, and kind of having that overall oversight across the year groups. Above myself obviously sits Mr. Edwards, the principal, who has that whole school oversight. So those are the kind of channels of communication. Your tutor will generally be the first point of contact, after which it's the pastoral manager, then myself. At this point, I'm going to hand you over to Mr. Calla. So good to see you again, and thank you very much for attending.
Thank you, Mr. Sowie. We offer at the UTC at year 10, we offer the 3 sciences: biology, chemistry and physics. So this is an overview for the curriculum. At the moment, you've got a typical timetable for Key Stage 4. You can see, as Mr. Sowie mentioned earlier, we have 6 periods in a day, 2 after morning registration, break, 2 lessons before lunch, and then we have 2 lessons in the afternoon. We have 6 compulsory core GCSEs. So we've got the 2 English language and English literature. The students will do GCSE mathematics, and they start the triple science, that they do 3 sciences: biology, chemistry and physics. So there's 6 GCSEs there. They do both our specialisms, level 2 engineering certificate and a level 2 certificate in information technology. And then the students opt to either do computer science GCSE or GCSE design technology. In total, 9 GCSEs. What we do is work very closely with parents in year 11, and when they've done their mocks in year 11, the students, we can make a choice there. Do they do the double award in science, which is worth 2 GCSEs? But we do start the program in year 10 with a triple science, and they spend 7 hours a week doing science, biology, chemistry, physics. We do 5 hours of maths in a week, and then we do 6 hours of English in a week. Our specialisms in engineering and IT, there's 3 hours per week, and then also 3 hours for either one of computer science or design technology. So all year 12 students will do a 3 A-level program. The 3 A-levels that we offer are mathematics, physics and computer science. You can choose to do a full A-level program, or students can opt to do a technical qualification, which is a level 3. The level 3 qualifications in engineering and IT can either be 1 A-level equivalent BTEC, a 2 A-level equivalent BTEC, or a 3 A-level equivalent BTEC. The 1 A-level equivalent BTEC is called the extended certificate. So you can see at the top of the screen, you can choose to do a BTEC level 3 extended certificate plus 2 other A-levels. So students could opt to do maths or maybe computer science or physics, so 2 others. If the students opt to do the engineering diploma or the IT diploma, students can opt to do 1 other A-level. So they can choose to do maybe maths or physics. Some students opt to do, this is our most popular course, is the level 3 BTEC extended diploma, which is all 3 A-levels of engineering or IT. You can see the grade requirements at the very bottom. There's 5 GCSEs at 4 and above, and it's important that the students achieve a grade 5 in maths to be able to do any of the BTECs. The A-levels, as Mr. Edwards mentioned earlier, they need to get a grade 6. So students will need a grade 6 and above to do maths. Grade 6 and above in the sciences to do A-level physics. And for computer science, students are not required to have studied computer science GCSE, but they can opt to do computer science with any one of the other level 3 qualifications. This is what a typical Key Stage 5 timetable looks like. You can see there are periods where there are blanks. These are not free periods, these are study periods. Students will work on the 16-hour period or 16 periods over the week, but there will be a number of periods, as you can see, where they will be doing independent study. Most students will be using the Learning Resource Centre or one of the quiet study rooms in engineering. So the sixth form have a designated quiet study room where they can go during their free periods. The timetable is exactly the same as Key Stage 4, a 6-period day with a break at 10:40 and a lunch at 1 o'clock. I'm going to hand you over to our parent governor, Julie Fisher. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Keller. Okay, so my daughter is currently in year 12, having started at the school in year 10. She'd previously been homeschooled, so as a parent who was completely new to the school system, I really wasn't sure what to expect. I have to say I was very pleasantly surprised with the level of communication between the school and parents. If I ever had any concerns at all, they were very quickly addressed either by email or with a phone call. The benefit of a relatively small school is that the staff get to know your child very quickly. They don't get swallowed up in a school year of possibly hundreds like they might do it at other schools. As a parent with a child who's interested in engineering, I was very impressed with the workshop and the equipment that the students have access to. I was also drawn to the careers and the pipeline programme, which brings the students into contact with potential employers, whichever route they choose to go, be it apprentices, further education, university. There's lots of potential doorways that they can go through that the school gives them access to. Now, as a homeschooling parent, I was very keen to see what went on behind the scenes, so I decided to become a parent governor, joining the governing body in November 2018. And over the last 2 years, I have to say I've been really impressed with the dedication and hard work that goes on behind the scenes, especially in the current climate, with arrangements having to be made for remote learning where necessary. It's not been an easy time for anybody, but everyone is constantly striving to improve the school and get the best possible outcomes for the students. Now, I would have no hesitation in recommending Heathrow UTC. If your child has an interest in engineering or computer science, this is definitely the place to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you everyone for presenting prior to me talking. What's going to happen now, I'm going to talk a bit about our partners and what do they do, and then I'm going to go to Peter Jones from Morgan Sindall, as he will talk through how Morgan Sindall support UTC Heathrow and how they work with us in this next stage. So as you can see there from the slides, you know, you've got Heathrow, who is one of our major partners, as well as Morgan Sindall, as well as Brunel University. But all these other people do get involved with us. They're not just there as a picture on the wall. They actually work with us. Fujitsu has sponsored one of our classrooms. Morgan Sindall are working with us, and we're creating a brand new CAD classroom from them. And what we will do is work with them closely as part of the level 3 program, in particular, the BTEC in engineering and IT, where actually those skills intertwine, and what happens is they're able to develop those technical skills that are needed. In regards to earlier, I know Mr. Surrey talked about other qualifications. We are a Microsoft IT Academy, and as part of that, we are able to deliver professional qualifications from Microsoft, which the students get for free, as well as staff. So what I'm going to do is to hand you over to Peter, and Peter's going to talk through our Morgan Sindall support UTC Heathrow.
Hello there, good evening everybody. Thank you, Wayne. So as I say, my name is Peter Jones. I'm a Business Improvement Manager for Morgan Sindall. We're a Platinum Partner with the UTC, and as part of that role as a Platinum Partner, as Wayne and Aaron have been talking about, so we provide that connectedness into industry, into employment, you know, those important relationships that start to develop through engagement with the with organisations like Morgan Sindall start to develop. And you know, as Aaron talked about in terms of the pastoral system, you know, that professional development continues into work. You know, we're every year we're continuously developing our personal development in a working environment. So I'm also on the board of governors, and I work with the other governors with Julie to look at areas of improvement. My particular area of looking for support and improvement is around leadership and management. So I provide my expertise from industry into the college to support the development of leadership and management. As Wayne said, we've provided support in terms of expanding the CAD capability at the UTC, and computer aided design is a very important tool that we use in construction. So the skills that the students get by using those facilities, again, directly lead them into the kind of skills that we're looking for in industry. Again, we're due to the COVID situation, we're now looking at developing virtual work experience projects that we can undertake with the students to develop their skills that they will learn within the UTC. And we've got a particular focus on at the moment in terms of looking at how we can create a project for developing the students' skills around CAD that directly then feed into its use within industry. So with that, I'll hand you back to Wayne. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter, for that. So the next bit, we're going to talk a bit about our talent pipeline program, and at present, what I'm going to talk through is what happens when we actually do face-to-face as part of the program. What we've had to do this year is we are adapting it with the COVID situation, and that is very different, and actually looking at what we do. So the program itself is important. So what happens as part of this program is that the partners who are all there, who I spoke about before, they do 4 days, and the actual talent pipeline program is important because what they do is students opt for a different partner to work with, and they work with them over those 4 days. And what happens is the students develop the skills that the partners want, but those specific partners who were in industry. So for example, before lockdown came in March, the program was working really nicely. We had students working with Heathrow Airport IT team, and they worked with Fujitsu, Capgemini, Heathrow Airport itself. They went on tours around the airport behind the scenes. They developed their soft skills with them in presentations, as well as some of their technical skills as well in how different aspects of the IT team work at Heathrow Airport. We also had people working with Babcock and Mace, and the students spent a day with them here, and then they went off to their head offices and spent the day, one of the days at their head offices. And then for those in Mace, they went off to Battersea for a tour of Battersea Power Station behind the scenes. And actually what Babcock did is they did some apprenticeship stuff. And they did a practice apprenticeship day with them and did some skills with them about what is a day like, what sort of skills do they need to work with that company, what sort of questions you may get asked on those days, and how you work as a team. And it is something that we think is really important about developing those soft skills, as I said at the start. What we do need to do now as part of this, and as Peter quite rightly said, we are doing lots of things virtually. So all the students in 12 and 13 are getting virtual work experience this year with different companies, and we've got different workshops happening virtually throughout the year so that we can still continue the program, but in a slightly different way. It's almost a modernized way, and how we are working currently in this environment. We are, as part of our IT and our computer science, we're part of a national cybersecurity group. And as I said, we do professional qualifications from Microsoft and Autodesk for the engineers, but also as part of that now, we are working with Cisco. So students get their Cisco, get their CCNA, as they call it, their Cisco networking qualifications in Palo Alto as well. And we use something called Immersive Labs. So actually we're using software that is industry specific. It's an environment that is safe, and students can learn to develop their networking skills as part of that, as part of the extracurricular stuff. And moving forward, that is a real key skill to have. And both the engineering course and both the IT course have overlaps with each other. In that, as Peter said, the computer-aided design aspects, that the tools in engineering, they have to do programming within engineering as well. And the same happens in IT. The IT guys are engineers, and they're learning to do the same skills for both courses. So, both courses we offer and the employer engagement is immense, I think, for where we are in this current climate. So some frequently asked questions. So I wrote the slide and thought of some of the things that we might get asked. One, where do we get our PPE from? Well, you order it through us and we get it from suppliers. As was said, our breaks and lunches, about 20 minutes for a break, 30 minutes for lunch. Lessons are 1 hour in length, and they're still 1 hour in length. So, we've been very good that our timetable allows us blended learning. So students are able to have remote lessons and live lessons at the same time because it just interlinks. We have a cashless environment, which is very important at this current climate. And we also have a debit card machine for those who want to tap and go with their debit card. But more of the food actually is ordered online at present. Everyone gets a locker, and they decided to do that this year, and there's again a deposit for those. And the PPE stuff that is supplied, which you get is a jacket, you get boots, you get gloves, you get your glasses as well, and there's optionals of ear defenders if you want them. But all that is yours. And behind me, I am sat in the engineering room and the actual engineering floor itself. And if I move my computer slightly, you might be able to see some of the machinery as there is behind me at the moment, so you can see what we have. In relation to any other questions, we've almost finished my presentation with the team and everybody. And what we're going to do is then talk about any live questions that you've got to ask. If you are interested in how to apply, click on our website, go to apply, and you fill in all the details. Then you'll be contacted about what the admissions process is. Applications run all through the year. We have a first cut-off date of the 30th of January. After which it's on a first come and first served basis. So if we become oversubscribed, then our oversubscription policy comes into play. This year we're looking to take on 130 year 12s and 50 year 10s, but we can take more. So if you are interested, click the website, and I'm going to pass over to Stacey, and here's our contact details. I apologise, I went a bit quick on that one. And for some question and answers.
Thanks, Wayne. So we've had quite a few questions come in. Some have been answered directly. The first one was about entry requirements for year 10 and year 12.
Okay, so in relation to entry requirements, for year 10, there is no entry requirement. It's a straight application. And for year 12, it depends on the course that you want to do. So as Jazz quite rightly said, the entry requirements for A levels is at least a grade 6 in those chosen subjects, but you'll need 5 GCSEs or equivalents at grade 5 or above to do the technical qualifications.
The next question we have is asking about the Build a Plane project and what that involves.
So the Build a Plane project is a great project. We are building a plane, and we haven't got it out at the moment because it's locked away in a cupboard. It's quite big. It's about 20 foot in length. And what that is all about is actually, as it sounds, we are building a plane. It is a licensed plane. It's got its own number, and it is scheduled to fly. So once the students have built it, they've then got to put the shell around it and add the engine. And then I've been told I've got to go in it. It is a 2-seater plane. And I might be giggling at the moment, but the good thing is it's regulated. So as part of the building of it, the actual precision engineering that is needed to build it is overseen by the, I'm just trying to remember their name fully, but by the actual flight institution, so that it is at the right specification. So there is no tolerance in any of the machinery that the students make. And as part of that, if they go over the tolerance levels or there's too much tolerance, then that piece gets thrown away and we have to start again. So it is done down to the industry standards for the actual plane. But what it does do is allow the students to develop their engineering skills, their actual hands-on skills, but also learn how to read drawings, learn how to work as a team, because it takes a number of them to build it.
The next question we have is, can I apply at age 13, or would I need to wait until the following year?
That's a difficult one. We've had this question before, and we've had to go through this. The issue with being year 13, the age 13, and in year 9 is they must be what's classed as gifted and talented. Because they are going into year 10, that means we actually have to take them a year in advance, and the level might be too hard. But there are other aspects within that, but it is an individual conversation. We can't take anybody in year 8. We're not allowed to. So it must be that year 10 age of 14 or 15, dependent. We have taken students who've been a year older who've dropped down a year. So we have been able to do that as well. But for those who are a year younger, we have to go through some hoops and ask different questions. And if they are gifted and talented in the STEM subject, if they are gifted and talented as part of that, then in theory, we can still take them.
We've got another admissions question as well, just asking when the application deadline is.
So the applications run all year, but to be certain to get in, the application deadline is the 30th of January.
Our next question is, what time does college finish for year 10s?
Exactly the same time as everyone else currently. We have a staggered time. So year 10 start at 8:30 and they finish at 3:30. And the sixth form start at 9 o'clock and finish at 3:45. So it's staggered because of COVID, and we are COVID safe. However, if everything was back to normal, everyone would start at 8:30, everyone will finish at 3:30.
Next question is, how are classes set? Is it by ability?
Jazz, I'm going to pass to Jazz again because he is the curriculum guru within the school. So I'll pass back to Jazz for that one.
So what we do initially is that the students will join us. We will ask for references from previous schools. The students, when they first come in, that we get them to do a CATS test, and that looks at their ability. We also get some of their levels that they've achieved in year 7, 8, and 9. We look at the Key Stage 2 prior attainment, so what the students have achieved by the end of year 6, and that's what schools up and down the country are measured on. So what we do is we broadly set the students initially into tutor groups. So there will be a tutor group 1 and tutor group 2, so there'll be 2 tutor groups in year 10 typically. If we go over the 50 students, we hope to have 3 tutor groups next year. And then we do a number of assessments throughout the year. Typically by the end of term 1, we would look to put students into particular sets based on, stream them into sets for science and maths. They stay predominantly in their tutor groups, which are broadly set for the vast majority of their subjects. Okay.
What provisions do you have in place for any future lockdown, is our next question.
Okay, that's a good question. So we're quite lucky here. We've designed a timetable so that we can immediately switch to remote learning. All the students have an Office 365 account. All the students use Microsoft Teams here from year 10 all the way through to the sixth form. So it's very easy to switch to Zoom like this or Zoom like live lessons, work to be uploaded onto there. We've also used something called GCSE Pod. We've also got Maths Watch with maths, and we've got some virtual lessons for the GCSE subjects, so that we can do a bit of live stuff, and then there is a set video clip with lesson objectives and criteria that students need to complete, and then we can switch back. So we've got lots of provision if we have to go back into lockdown again, but it's very easy for us with our timetable to switch to remote learning. If, for instance, a member of staff is been told to self-isolate, they still deliver their lessons to the students in the UTC. So we know we have one member of staff currently who's been asked to by the track and trace app out of school to self-isolate. So that person is delivering their lessons remotely to the students in the classroom. So the remote learning still takes place. Hopefully that answers the question.
Our next question's about transition days and taster days. Are we going to be offering any this year?
So what we did during the summer and during lockdown is we did taster days. However, they were virtual taster days. So we actually delivered A-level lessons, BTEC lessons at level 3, and some engineering lessons at level 2, where the students were invited to come and they were set a little project, and it was all done virtually. So we were able to do tasters, but it wasn't necessarily physical on site as we will normally do. But we will still do taster sessions.
Next question is about destinations and how many usually go off to university versus apprenticeships employment.
So that's a really interesting question, because we generally get round about 50% go to uni, round about 35 to 40 go to apprenticeship, and 5 go into employment. This year it's slightly changed, so we've got more go to university. This year that's currently about 60% have gone to university in the current climate. We've got students, then there's about 25% gone to apprenticeships, and we've got some in employment and some still looking for apprenticeships that we were working with those students currently. So the current climate has had an impact on apprenticeships, but we are still working with those providers to get our students to those apprenticeships. But generally, lots of our students we make all our students apply to university at post 16. Whether they take their offers is up to them. But I can honestly say that lots of our students have gone off to great destinations this year at universities, all of them to study some sort of engineering. So either that's mechanical, aeronautical, electrical, they've all gone off to study those, and they've got the grades from here to do that.
We've got another curriculum question in. In the future, will you have more variety of BTEC other than IT?
It all depends on what the local need is. So what we do with our curriculum, we look at it in detail. We work with our partners to say what's on offer. In regards to what we won't offer is we don't do languages, we don't do humanities. And that's something that we don't do, because actually our courses that we offer are specialists for here to work in the industry that we are working with. So within those industries, we work very closely with Peter and the governors and with the employers to say, this is what we're offering. Is that right for our local area or local offer currently? We may do, depending on what the need is within the local area, change whatever we deliver so that we can meet the needs of industry and what's needed.
We have a question which is off the back of one you answered earlier, Wayne. What assessment and criteria do you have to class someone as gifted and talented?
That will be that they are high performing in their subjects across the school. So gifted and talented, is students who are in year 9 who might have the mathematical ability to already sit their GCSE to get a grade 7. Really high flying STEM students in STEM subjects who are what we class as gifted and talented. But again, that's an individual conversation to have with the student, the parents, and whether it is right to be here at that time, because we're very conscious about being the right fit for the student. And actually we've got to nurture that student moving forward within the curriculum, but we have done it. So it's not a no, but it is something that we have to make sure that we move at the right pace for that child.
Thank you. Just a couple of questions left. If you do have any last questions, just pop them on the Q&A. One question is around, do you have many students that go on to work with any of your employer partners?
We have got some, yes, but we have to be. It's a very difficult one. By coming to us and working with that partner doesn't necessarily guarantee you apprenticeship. Unfortunately, we have to make sure, and the partners have to make sure it's a fair process. What does help is being known by the partner, being working with them to get that first stage, so getting your foot through the door. But you've still got to then do the apprenticeship, do the interview, do the assessment day, which is against lots of other people. But we can always help to get that first foot in the door to support that. But we do have people go off to Thames Water. We've had a lot of students work at Heathrow Airport as part of their apprenticeship scheme. We've had students work at Fujitsu. We've got students working at BMW. We've got students working at Mercedes. Who've left us on apprenticeships this year, as well as the forces and becoming a pilot and many other different avenues.
How many students will you be taking on for year 12?
130 next year. So currently we have 109 students in year 12, and next year there'll be 130. So the sixth form is quite a big sixth form, and within that the two specialisms are important, and nearly all the students do one of the specialisms. So we don't have many students doing a pure A-level route. They all do one aspect of either engineering or IT.
Perfect. That's all the questions we've had through.
Okay. Well, if that is all the questions, I want to thank you for your time tonight. And again, apologies for the start. Somehow my computer has blown up, so I'll have to sort that one out. But thank you for listening, and I wish you all that you stay safe in this current climate, and I look forward to either meeting you in person and looking for your applications and different things.